Good rest day, working moms, and welcome back to So This Is Motherhood. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about birth control. I'm going to be talking about how I personally ditched my hormonal birth control, even though I am 23 months postpartum and still breastfeeding, and what I am currently doing now in place of hormonal birth control. Stay tuned. So I just want to start out by saying that I am not your typical hormonal birth control user. I grew up in a very conservative Christian home where we were taught that you do not have premarital sex, like at all. All sex was forbidden. We were not in a sex positive home. So basically we were just told, like, you know, all sex is bad. And we weren't taught about condoms or safe sex or anything like that. You should just wait till you're married and keep your virginity because that's what God wanted you to do. My mom charted our cycles like a hawk. If we were like one day late, why isn't anybody bleeding? Why is there no pads being used? Like, she was meticulous and relentless. So it definitely was not a safe space, come to think about it. Masturbation was frowned upon, all of these things. So I'm sorry, I'm getting a little too personal here with you guys. So basically, I had to keep any interest in sex a secret, and I honestly didn't have a sexual awakening until I hit like the age of 18. I found a guy that I thought I loved, so I didn't want to have a pregnancy and have to explain to my mom why I have a pregnancy even though I'm not married. So I invested in hormonal birth control for the first time, and I had a good experience with it. I had no real issues with it. As I jumped around from relationship to relationship, you know, just being a teenager, experimenting, being a college student, all of those fun things. I did out New Year's Day 2015, and I instantly got back on birth control, and I was on birth control, hormonal birth control, from January / February of 2015 all the way to September of 2016, and that was the longest stint that I had ever been on birth control, to say the least. It was the generic brand of the brand I was already on before, like when I was in college. So I can't even tell you what it was on now, but it made me crazy. I was hormonal, I was off the chain, I was angry, I was weepy, I was just not myself. And even my boyfriend at the time noticed it, and he was all like, well, since, we want to start our family, why don't you just get off the birth control a little bit earlier than anticipated? And I was like, are you sure? Because I don't know, I'm kind of worried about like just stopping cold turkey. He's like, it'll be fine, don't worry about it. Well, he was probably thinking that it would give it more time to get out of my system, so that way it would take us it would just take us more of a long time to get pregnant. And apparently I'm a fertile myrtle. I got pregnant within 3 months of being off the pill. We were pregnant by December of 2016, and we found out we were pregnant January of 2017. So, I don't know. He was so confused. He was like, were you even on the pill? How did you get pregnant so fast? I'm like, I promise you I was on the pill. He's used to, his ex, I guess, was on the depot when they were together, and it took them over a year to conceive my stepson. But I never got on the depot shot. He wanted me to get on the depot shot. I said, no way, Jose. I was a little bit vain. I heard it makes you fat and all this other stuff, and I just didn't want to get fat. Well, when I was in nursing school, a couple of my classmates said, oh, the depot shot gave them pre-cancerous cells on their cervix. So I'm really grateful that I followed my instincts and just never got that shot, because in my mind I was thinking it was very unnatural to not have a period. You know what I mean? And I just wasn't about that life. So I never got the depot shot, and I'm really glad I did it. Especially in regards to the whole implant thing as well. The first time I ever heard about the implant that goes in your arm, like the next pull-on, I was a freshman in college. I was at Kent State, and we were all chilling in the lounge. And the one girl was like, oh my God, it's so great. I got this implant, and it goes in my arm, and I don't get pregnant for 2 or 3 years. And the only downside is it can't break in my arm, or else I'll become infertile. Dude, I wouldn't be bragging about something that is so great, but in the same breath, it can make me infertile. You know what I mean? It just didn't make sense to me. And again, the whole not having a period thing, which I am not 100% sure if it kept you from having a period, the implant, but I wasn't about that noise. I was just like, I think I'm going to pass. So I'm just really glad that I followed my instincts and I never went along with like any crazy fad that came along. So in that regard, my body was definitely very well protected because of my spidey senses, so to speak. So fast forward now, I am 23 months postpartum, going on 24 months. And, you know, this is the longest, again, that I've ever been on the mini pill. That's supposed to be safe for breastfeeding, quote unquote. But I don't know, I'm not really crazy about all those hormones floating around in my body, and, you know, they're getting passed through my breast milk to baby Virgo, and he's male, and I don't think all those extra estrogen and progesterone is good for him. It's definitely not good for me, considering that hormonal birth control is actually a very powerful carcinogen, and the longer you're on it, it increases your chances of obtaining breast cancer, especially if you are using aluminum-based deodorant, which I've stopped using aluminum-based deodorant for quite some time now. But even still, it's just, I'm not comfortable with all those hormones floating around, and I just would like to be done with it once and for all, and to not constantly have to be running to the pharmacy like, oh my god, I need my pills. Especially since when you do more research and you find out that actually hormonal birth control is a form of castration, chemical castration anyway. It does not allow you to ovulate. It completely stops ovulation, so it's like a form of menopause. And there's always that girls that are out there, I swear my period was just so irregular, and then once I got on hormonal birth control, it regulated. Home slice. It did not regulate your period. All it did was completely halt all estrogen, all progesterone, and, you know, your sugar pills that brought about your quote-unquote period. It's just withdrawal bleeding from all those hormones stopping you from ovulating. You aren't ovulating when you are on the pill. I don't care what anybody says. So, as I was on my journey of looking for hormonal birth control removal and like how to do it more efficiently, you know, just protecting myself from not getting pregnant or to try to conceive, I was just scrolling through my IG, and there was a post from Womb and Wellness, and it was a cartoon about like all of the different types of birth control that they promote today and all the side effects. And I was like, yeah, you know, this is really resonating with me because I want to know how I can get off of it, this mini pill that I'm on for breastfeeding. And she encouraged me to check out Fertility Friday. Her podcast and her IG account are life. Oh my god, I can't believe how much knowledge that I have obtained in the short amount of time that I've been following her IG account and from me listening to her podcast. Her knowledge is what we need to be teaching young women in our sex ed. I'm just going to call it like I see it. We are taught in sex ed that every time you have sex, you can get pregnant. And that is actually not the case whatsoever. In fact, it is actually the opposite. There is a very short window for which women can get pregnant. And she dives more into this method called the Fertility Awareness Method, and all it is monitoring your body's signs of fertility, using it as a way to abstain from sex to avoid pregnancy, so as a form of birth control, or for those couples who are trying to conceive. The 3 signs of fertility are as follows. 1, cervical mucus. And all mucus is fertile mucus. It doesn't matter if it's egg white, creamy, watery. It doesn't matter if it's stretchy, not so stretchy. What your cervical mucus is a buffer for your vagina, because your vagina is actually very acidic, and it's a natural spermicide. So when you are seeing mucus and you want to try to get pregnant, and you do have unprotected sex that results in ejaculation, the mucus and the semen combined, and they swim up through your vagina, through your uterus to either fallopian tube that you're ovulating from, and they chill there for 5 days as they wait for the egg to be released. There's only like 24 hours from the time your egg is released for you to get pregnant. So the sperm has to be hanging out for at least 5 days before the egg is dropped for you to get pregnant. Your second sign of fertility is your basal temp, and I know everyone says, well, that's like family planning and it's like rhythm method and it doesn't work. all it is that you just monitor your steady temp, and then when you notice a slight degree change, your oven, aka your uterus, is warming up. And what it is, you know, if your egg is fertilized, your uterus warms itself up to start cooking and creating the fetus. So if you notice a slight degree change, then congratulations, you ovulated. Your third sign of fertility, of course, is if you're doing internal cervical checks. You will notice that if your cervix feels more open or tilted back, then you are more fertile. It's more open to receive semen, to become pregnant. Or you'll notice it's very tilted more forward, I should say, and it feels more like closed off and hard like a grape. That means you are not fertile. So you just basically have to be paying attention to the signs that your body is giving you. And ironically enough, I have actually been monitoring my body's signs of fertility my whole life, and I just never knew what was going on. I didn't know how to interpret the messages that my body was giving me. I thought that the cervical mucus, because you know it was all different colors and things like that, that it was a sign of like nasty vaginal discharge and it meant I need to clean more. And occasionally I would do that internal cervical checks in the shower. I know this is a lot of information for y'all about my personal life, but I would notice that sometimes it felt more hard and then it would feel more open, and now it's just like, wow, what is that? That's strange. I just thought I was goofy. You know, I just thought there's something wrong with me. And here, I'm just a normal woman, you know, going through the normal stages of fertility. What happens is the estrogen that is released during, you know, your cycle to, you know, get pregnant, it makes the cervix actually really soft, and that's what causes that open feeling that you feel when you're doing your internal cervical checks. Back to why you can't get pregnant every time that you have sex is because, again, you have to be showing the signs of fertility to even get pregnant. There's actually a very short window that you can get pregnant, like I said, and the way Fertility Friday explained it, her name is Lisa, by the way, she just basically, you have to envision that you have a house. Your house is your uterus, the door is your cervix, and out in the yard is basically your vagina. And when you are ready to get pregnant, everything's wide open. When you are not ready to get pregnant, the door is locked and the fence around your house is on fire. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but basically that is how your body protects itself from getting pregnant when it's not ready to. And I just think that is so amazing to have that information, to be so empowered about my body and be like, wow, yeah, I can do this. Fertility Awareness Method is definitely what I need, and I'm really excited to be doing it. And so far I've been off birth control since the end of July, and it's going good so far. I have been a little faulty with my basal temp checks, but I basically know when I'm ovulating and when I'm not ovulating, and it's been really empowering. And of course I track everything on the Flow app, so I'm really excited about it. Alright, working mom, so that's it. That is how I am no longer on birth control and what I am now going to be using basically until the day I die. I'm really excited to be on this Fertility Awareness Method journey, and of course if you want to learn more, I will provide all the necessary links to Fertility Friday in my description box down below. If you enjoyed this content and you are more than excited to continue on this journey of motherhood as me as I balance work and motherhood, definitely hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button, and definitely hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified about my new content that will be uploading for you lovely working ladies every Sunday afternoon. And of course, if you want to connect with me on Instagram, I post pretty much daily in my stories. My handle's up there in that left-hand corner up there, so feel free to subscribe and connect and say hello. Alright ladies, until next time, this is Kayla, this is Motherhood, and I will see you ladies next Sunday. Peace out.